Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a topic that's as captivating as it is, well, a little disheartening. The worst presidents in US history. Now, before you grab your pitchforks and light your torches, remember, history is complex. Every president, good or bad, operated within a specific context. But there's no denying that some presidencies have been marked by, shall we say, less than stellar decisions and outcomes. So, buckle up as we journey through some of the most tumultuous and controversial periods in American history, examining the presidencies that often top the worst lists. Get ready for some political drama, economic turmoil, and a whole lot of historical head-scratching. Let's get started. Let's kick things off with James Buchanan, our 15th president, often dubbed the president who fiddled while America fractured. Buchanan took office in 1857, a time when the nation was a powder keg of sectional tensions over slavery. The issue of slavery had been a thorn in the side of the nation since its founding. By the mid-19th century, it wasn't just a political issue, it was a moral crisis. Abolitionists in the North opposed slavery, while Southern slaveholders defended it as an economic necessity. Buchanan, from Pennsylvania, tried to walk a tightrope, hoping to appease both sides. He believed preserving the Union was paramount, but his compromises only exacerbated the divide. He endorsed the Dred Scott decision, denying citizenship to African Americans, inflaming tensions. Imagine trying to hold together a nation on the brink of collapse. That was Buchanan's reality. He argued states couldn't secede, but didn't believe the federal government could stop them. A catch-22, this indecisiveness fueled the fire. He left office in 1861 with a legacy of inaction and a nation on the brink of civil war. Just a month after Buchanan left office, the Confederate States of America was formed and the Civil War began. It's a chilling reminder of the consequences of political paralysis in the face of a growing crisis. Andrew Johnson, a Southerner who ascended to the presidency after Lincoln's assassination, faced the daunting task of reconstructing a nation shattered by civil war. It was a time for healing, for bringing the Confederate States back into the fold, and for addressing the deep wounds of slavery. But Johnson's vision of reconstruction differed drastically from that of the radical Republicans in Congress. He favored a lenient approach toward the former Confederate states, granting pardons to former Confederate leaders and allowing them to re-establish governments with little federal interference. Imagine the perspective of formerly enslaved African Americans. They had endured centuries of oppression, and now, with the Civil War ended, they hoped for true equality and justice. However, Johnson's policies allowed Southern states to implement black codes, laws that severely restricted the freedoms of African Americans. These codes were essentially a way to circumvent the abolition of slavery, limiting the economic and social opportunities available to African Americans. They were a stark reminder that the fight for equality was far from over. Johnson's actions ignited a firestorm of opposition in Congress. The radical Republicans, believing that Johnson's Reconstruction plan was far too lenient, sought to protect the rights of freedmen and ensure true equality. They clashed with Johnson, eventually impeaching him in 1868, though he narrowly avoided removal from office by the Senate. The impeachment drama further polarized the nation, hindering the process of reconciliation. While Johnson's presidency is often overshadowed by his impeachment, it's his approach to Reconstruction that truly cements his place among the most criticized presidents. His failure to address the root causes of the Civil War, his leniency towards former Confederates, and his disregard for the rights of African Americans left a bitter legacy that would take generations to overcome. Warren G. Harding, elected in 1920, promised a return to normalcy after the tumultuous years of World War I. Americans, weary of war and social upheaval, embraced his message of stability and tranquility. But Harding's presidency would be anything but normal. It would be marred by scandals that exposed the dark underbelly of his administration. Harding's downfall wasn't necessarily his own doing, at least not directly. He was known for his personal charm and his ability to connect with people. However, his fatal flaw was his loyalty to his friends, a group known as the Ohio Gang, whom he appointed to key positions in his administration. Now, here's where things get sticky. These cronies, while perhaps loyal, were woefully unqualified and saw their government positions as opportunities for personal enrichment. scandals erupted, rocking the Harding administration to its core. The most infamous of these scandals, the Teapot Dome scandal, involved the Secretary of the Interior, Albert Fall, who leased government oil reserves to private companies in exchange for bribes. The scandal, when it came to light, sent shockwaves through the nation, tarnishing Harding's reputation and exposing the rampant corruption within his administration. Imagine the public outcry, the sense of betrayal, as news of these scandals spread. The very people entrusted with upholding the law were using their power for personal gain. Harding, already facing criticism for his hands-off leadership style, was now seen as either complicit in the corruption or, at the very least, oblivious to it. The scandals took a toll on Harding. He died in office in 1923, his presidency forever tainted by the actions of his corrupt associates. The Harding administration serves as a stark reminder that even the most well-intentioned leaders can be undone by a lack of oversight and a misplaced trust in those around them. Herbert Hoover, a self-made millionaire and a champion of American individualism, took office in 1929, just months before the stock market crash that plunged the nation into the Great Depression. He entered the White House with a reputation for competence and efficiency, but the economic catastrophe that unfolded during his presidency would test his abilities like never before. The Great Depression wasn't just a recession, it was an economic earthquake that shook the foundations of American society. Millions lost their jobs, their homes, and their life savings. Breadlines stretched for blocks, and despair gripped the nation. Hoover initially believed that the government should not interfere with the natural forces of the market. He clung to the idea of rugged individualism, the belief that Americans could overcome adversity through hard work and self-reliance without government handouts. But as the Depression deepened, Hoover's policies proved woefully inadequate. His attempts to stimulate the economy through business loans and public works projects were too little, too late. The public grew increasingly disillusioned with Hoover's leadership, blaming him for their suffering. Imagine the plight of ordinary Americans during the Depression. They had lost everything, and their president, it seemed, was out of touch with their struggles. Hoover's belief in limited government and individual responsibility seemed tone-deaf in the face of such widespread suffering. Shantytowns, derisively dubbed Hoovervilles, sprung up across the nation, grim reminders of the human toll of the Depression. By the time Hoover left office in 1933, he was a deeply unpopular figure, his presidency synonymous with economic hardship and government inaction. The Great Depression and Hoover's response to it highlighted the limitations of laissez-faire economics and the need for a more active role for government in addressing economic crises. Richard Nixon, a complex figure, left an indelible mark on American history, both for his accomplishments and his transgressions. His presidency was a roller coaster of foreign policy triumphs, domestic turmoil, and a scandal that would bring him down. Elected in 1968, Nixon was a master strategist and shrewd politician. He achieved significant breakthroughs in foreign policy, opening relations with China and pursuing détente with the Soviet Union. He ended US involvement in the Vietnam War, though not without controversy. But the Watergate scandal, a political scandal that unfolded like a slow-motion train wreck, would define Nixon's legacy. It began with a break-in at the Democratic National Committee headquarters at the Watergate Hotel in 1972. Investigations revealed the break-in was orchestrated by Nixon's re-election campaign. Nixon denied involvement, but evidence showed he participated in a cover-up. Tapes of Nixon's Oval Office conversations revealed his role in the cover-up. Facing certain impeachment, Nixon resigned in disgrace in 1974, the only US president to do so. Despite his foreign policy achievements, Nixon's presidency stands as a cautionary tale about the abuse of power and the importance of accountability. So there you have it, a glimpse into the presidencies of 5 men whose tenures are often cited as cautionary tales in American history. Their stories remind us that the presidency is a position of immense power and responsibility, and that even the most well-intentioned leaders can falter. From Buchanan's inaction in the face of secession to Johnson's mishandling of Reconstruction, from Harding's tolerance of corruption to Hoover's inadequate response to the Great Depression, and finally to Nixon's downfall in the Watergate scandal, these presidencies highlight the potential pitfalls of leadership. But they also offer valuable lessons about the importance of decisiveness, integrity, empathy, adaptability, and accountability. By studying their mistakes, we can gain a deeper understanding of the challenges of leadership and the importance of choosing leaders who possess the qualities necessary to navigate those challenges effectively.